Alright, so in order for this short little video, you're going to have to get out a separate sheet of paper. So I don't care what it is. It can be whatever paper you can find. Hopefully you just got lined paper or graph paper in your binder. But if you don't, find something. I mean, find a white piece of paper. I don't care. You're going to just do a few problems. We're going to do one at a time. You guys need to attempt it, and then you're going to watch the video to check yourself. I will check this paper tomorrow. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a learning target number 1. Okay, so I'm going to give you the problem. It's going to be 3 divided by 5/6. Go ahead and start that now. So pause the video, and then I'll be going over it. Okay, hopefully you've already done it. I won't know, I guess, if you don't, but you know, it's only going to hurt yourself if you didn't attempt it. So we've got to remember that the first step always when you're modeling division is you always have to model the dividend. You need to remember that the dividend is the first number. Okay, it's the number being divided. You have to know that. I've been stressing to you the difference between dividend and divisor for the last several weeks on review sheets, and now you're starting to figure out why. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is model my division, or model my dividend. Okay, that's got to be step number 1, and it better have been step number 1 for you. Okay, the next step is now, so I'll put these steps on here. So model dividend, and if you want to write these down somewhere, I think we did it in our notes, but if you want to write them again, you may. Okay, step number 2 for learning target number 1, we're going to ask the question. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit different, but I like you guys to start thinking with what question we'd be going for here. Okay, so we're wanting to know how many groups of 5/6 are there in 3. 5/6 makes a group. Okay, so the next thing we've got to do here is we've got to take this our models here when we modeled the dividend, and we need to cut them into 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now again, it's how many groups of my divisor are there in my dividend. That's essentially what we're looking for. So I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5/6. That represents one group. Okay, let's keep going here. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, and 5/6. That represents one group. Okay, keep going here. Kind of use a different color. We got 1/6, 2/6, 3, 4, and 5. That represents one group. And then I look and say, okay, do I have enough for another whole group? So I circle what's left over. Okay, so the first thing I like to do at this point is I want to figure out, okay, how many whole groups did I have? Okay, I have 1, 2, and 3. So I know that my answer is going to be 3 and something because I have a partial. Okay, so now I know 3 is kind of goofy. I know that I have how many pieces left over? I have 3 pieces remaining. 1, 2, 3. And I know that it's not 6. Remember, it's about how many pieces it took to make a whole. So I have 3 of a possible 5 that would make a whole group. And there's your answer, 3 3/5. Now, I've made it very clear that now we all need to be checking with the algorithm. So you showed the model, you found the answer with the model. Now it's ready to show the algorithm. So, of course, we always take it, and first thing we do is we leave it as a division problem. I just rewrote it as a division problem, only now I made them both improper. So I know that when I'm doing the algorithm for division, I know that division is just multiplication by the divisor's reciprocal. Okay, so the dividend is never going to change, and I know that division is then going to become multiplication, and I know that I'm going to use the reciprocal of 5/6, which is 6/5. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do top times top, bottom times bottom. I'm going to get 18/5. Now, the whole point of this is to make sure that these are equal. When you first look at these two numbers, they don't necessarily look equal. So we've got to convert this into a mixed number. Now I'm going to need to see the work when it comes test time and on this week's review sheet. I'm going to need to see this work. I know that 5 goes into 18 3 whole times. Then I multiply and I subtract. Now just like in elementary school, you would have had a remainder of 3. That becomes your numerator of your fraction, and you know that since your divisor was fifths here and here, it's going to remain fifths. So there we go. We know that the answer is 3 3/5. Okay, let's try another one now. Okay, now we're going to do learning target number 2. Okay, so I'm kind of telling you the learning targets right now. I won't on the test. So this is going to be 2/3, and we're going to divide it by 3. Okay, go ahead and try this one on your own, and then play the video once you've showed the model and the algorithm. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you've already done it. So first step, remember, just like if I go back a page, model the dividend. It's always the first step. So to model 2/3, I know that I'm going to just draw one cake as I described it, and we're going to use shading to basically show 2/3, because there's really no way to draw 2/3 without showing a partial and then part of it missing and then part of it being there. So here we go. There's 1/3 shaded, and there's 2/3. 2/3 shaded. Okay, so I've now done step number 1, model the dividend, which I know is the number being divided. 2/3 divided by 3. Okay, now the way I taught you to do this is I said, think of a real life example. Think about having 2/3 of a cake, and you want to divide it among your 3 friends. So you're going to get out your knife and you're going to cut it this way into thirds. So I know that each one of these rows is going to represent how much one friend is going to receive. I just want to know each friend is going to receive what. So you look here and go, okay, each friend is going to receive 2 pieces. So that can be your numerator for a minute. Okay, and then remember, it's how much are they getting out of the whole cake. Originally, I'm talking how much did they get if the entire cake was there. And that's where it comes from. So you got to add up how many total pieces this is, which is 9. So the answer would be 2/9. Okay, now just like the other one, we need to now check with the algorithm. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite it as a division problem, only making sure that both of them are going to be in improper form, or I should say improper or improper fractional form. Okay, there's your dividend. Does that change? Absolutely not. Always stays the same. Divide is going to become multiply, and I'm going to use the reciprocal of 3/1, which is 1/3. Okay, top times top, bottom times bottom. I get 2/9, which does not simplify, and which is the same answer I got there. So I hope you're seeing exactly what my expectations are. When I ask for the algorithm, I expect to see it written as a division problem and then rewritten as a multiplication problem. And they should get you the same answer. Okay, 2 more. Let me get rid of this. 2 more and then we'll be done. Okay, so the first one here, go ahead and do, let's do 3/4. Nah, we do enough of those. Let's do 3/5, and we're going to divide that by 5. And then we're going to take, let's take 3 and divide it by 4/7. Okay, go ahead and try those. First model and then algorithm. Let's see if you can get them both right. Okay, hopefully, again, you did it. You were asked to, so you better have. The first step here always is to model the dividend. So I know that my dividend in this problem here is going to be 3/5. I know that my dividend here is going to be the whole number 3. So that's a different model. Okay, so here I'm going to show 3/5 by just showing one box shaded, with 3/5 being shaded. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa. It's glitching on me. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so now I'm going to shade 3 of them, right, guys? Because I've got to find a way to show the 3/5. So there's 1/5, 2/5, and 3/5. Again, since I have a partial dividend, a number that's less than 1, I know that I'm going to have to ask that question about cake, because I can think of it as 3/5 of a cake. So I pull that 3/5 of the cake out of my fridge. Now I'm going to take my knife out and I'm going to cut it for my 5 friends. So I'm going to make 4 cuts because I cut it 4 times, which makes 5 total sections. Okay? So now I think, okay, if I've cut it, each row is going to represent how much one of my friends is going to get. So each friend is getting one of these slices, and there are 5 friends there. So I know that each friend is going to get 1, 2, 3 pieces out of a total of how many? So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns by 5 rows, and it's going to be 3/25. Okay? Each person is going to get 3/25 of the whole pizza. Okay? Now again, we need to show the algorithm, which means we rewrite it as a division problem, and if you didn't do this, you need to be doing it on your paper. The dividend is never going to change. It remains what you start with, 3/5 of a cake. Divide is going to become multiply, and the reciprocal of 5/1 is 1/5. Top times top, bottom times bottom. 3/25, which is what we said it was. Okay? One over here. The next one here, you have to model the dividend. So again, all you pay attention to is the dividend. Okay? Alright, so there's my 3. I've modeled them. Okay, so I always like to think of these as pizzas for some reason. 3 Jets pizzas that are not cut. And I want to know how many groups of 4/7 there are in 3. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to cut this into 7s. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, if you're missing them, you better be correcting them. Okay, I know that groups of 4 make a group. 3, 4, 1 group. Okay, if you have different colors, use them. It's going to be an effective thing for you come test time. 2, 3, 4, that represents 1 group. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 represents 1 group. 1, 2, 3, 4 represents 1 group. And 1, 2, 3, 4 represents another whole group. Okay, you've got to make a note. What do you have left over? You do have a partial left over there. Need to draw that a little better. Okay, so how many whole groups do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole groups. And then I have 1 piece left over right there. 1 piece. And then how many pieces does it take to make a whole group? You all should be saying 4. So the answer, I think the answer is 5 1/4. Let's now check with the algorithm. So we rewrite it as a division problem. 3/1 divided by 4/7. The dividend will not change. 3/1. Divide becomes multiply. And the reciprocal of 4/7 would be 7/4. And I'm going to get 21/4. So then I go do my division, because that's how we convert impropers into mixed numbers. 4 goes into 20 5 whole times. 5 times 4 is 20. I subtract and get a remainder of 1. And remember, your denominator never changes. So it's going to be 5 1/4, which is what we said it was. So that's the whole key. As I said today in class, this is the easier method right here. This should seem easier. It is. The algorithm is very easy. The model should be a little more challenging. Now, some of you might think opposite, but that's why it's important. You must know both. On the test, there will be questions where I ask you to do the model. There will be questions I ask you to do the algorithm. You can always check either way, though. Okay? So that's it for this. Good job. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you did well. Oh, real quick, at the top of your paper, do this real fast, too. We did 4 questions. I would like you to write however many you got right out of 4. So if you got 0 out of 4, if you missed them all, put 0 out of 4. If you got all right, put 4 out of 4 at the top. And we'll check that tomorrow. All right, see you guys. All right, see ya.